Magandang araw mga kabilang! Ngayon ang pag-uusapan natin ay properties of operation on the set of integers. May iba't iba tayong properties of operation on the set of integers. Una, closure property. Pangalawa, commutative property. Pangatlo, associative property. Pang-apat, distributive property. Panglima, identity property. At ang pang-anim ay inverse property. Para mas madali nating maalala ito, magkaroon tayo ng acronyms sa properties. So now, let's have the word associative. A stands for associative property. C stands for closure property. I stands for identity property. D stands for distributive property. I stands for inverse property. And C stands for commutative property. Sa associative property, ganito ang itsura ng ating given. So we have parentheses. Inside the parentheses, we have A plus B plus C equals A plus parentheses B plus C. Under multiplication, we have inside the parentheses, the product of A and B times C equals to A. Inside parentheses is the product of B and C. Next, let's have closure property. Closure property, since under to ng integer, we have A plus B and the answer or the sum must be integer. The product of AB must be integer. Next, we have identity property. So we have A plus 0 equals A times 1 equals A. Next, we have distributive property. A times B plus C equals AB plus AC. A times B minus C equals AB minus AC. Next, let's have inverse property. So we have A plus negative A equals 0. A times 1 over A equals A. Last, we have commutative property. So we have A plus B equals B plus A. A times B equals B times A. Let's now have the first property, which is A stands for associative property. Changing the grouping of numbers that are either being added or multiplied does not change its value. So again, this is the format in associative property. So now let's have example. So we have 1 plus 2 plus 3. As you can see, inside the parentheses is 1 plus 2. And then in the other side, ang nasa loob naman ng parenthesis is 2 plus 3. So kapag ganito ang itsura, this is under of associative property. So according sa associative property, hindi nagbabago yung value niya. So ibig sabihin, if we're going to check if the right side and left side ay equal sila, so we're going to simplify. So let's check. We have 1 plus 2, we have 3, just bring down plus 3, equals, bring down 1. So unahin natin yung naka-parenthesis. So 2 plus 3, we have 5. Next, we have 3 plus 3 equals 6, equals 6. So as you can see, equals sila. Next, let's have another example. So, ang nasa loob naman ng parenthesis, we have 2 times 3 times 4 equals 2 times sa loob ng parenthesis, we have 3 times 4. So, this is also example of associative property. So, we have 2 times 3. Let's check again. We have 6 just bring down times 4 equals, bring down 2 times, let's simplify, what is 3 times 4? We have 12. 6 times 4, we have 24. 2 times 2, we have 24. Okay? So, as you can see, this 24, yung nasa right side and nasa left side ay parehas 24. So, ibig sabihin, equal sila. So, this is example of associative property. So, please take note that subtraction and division are not associative. So, ibig sabihin, hindi natin pwedeng i-apply yung associative property under of subtraction and division. Let's example. Let's have the next property. So, acidic, let's have C, stands for closure property. Two integers that are added and multiplied remain as integers. So, in short, under a closure property, dapat yung magiging sagot natin is still, it is integer. So, ibig sabihin, close lang yung ating given na lahat ng makikita nyo dun ay integer. So, let's have example. We have 1 plus 2 equals 3. As you can see, 1, 2, and 3 are integers. Let's have another example. Negative 2 times 4 equals negative 8. Negative 2 is integer. 4 is also integer. And also negative 8 is integer. So this is under a closure property. Kasi nga, naka-close lang yung ating given sa integers. Again, please take note that the set of integers is close under addition and multiplication. So, ibig sabihin, katulad ng associative property, under lang to ng addition and multiplication. Let's have another property. Acidic, we're done sa A. C, let's have now I. So, I stands for identity property. So, additive identity states that the sum of any number and 0 is the given number. So, 0 is the additive identity. So, in short, since identity siya, dapat yung makuha nating answer is same lang sa ating given. So, para same lang yung value, just add 0. 0 is the additive identity. So, 0 yung ina-add natin para ma-remain or mapanatili yung value. Next, we have multiplicative identity. It states that the product of a number and 1 is the given number. Kung natatandaan nyo, any number multiplied by 1 equals to itself. So, 8 times 1 equals 8. So, 1 is the multiplicative identity. Let's have now example. Again, this is the format under of identity property. So we have 2 plus 0 equals to 0 is the additive identity. So as you can see, we have 2 here. Ang lumabas pa rin na answer is 2. So it is under of identity. Next, if we're going to check, just simply add. Still, the answer is 2 now. Now, let's continue. Let's have another example. We have 3 times 1. So, C1, this is multiplicative identity. So, 3 times 1 equals 3. So, let's check again. We have 3 times 1 equals 3. So, we're done na sa ACI. Acidic, let's have D. Yan. So, this stands for distributive property. So, when two numbers have been added, subtracted, and then multiplied by a factor, the result will be the same when each number is multiplied by the factor and the products are then added and subtracted. So this is our format under of distributive property. So let's have example. So as you can see, we have 2 times 3 plus 4. So ang dinidistribute natin dyan is 2. So we have 2 times 3 and then 2 times 4. That's why 2 times 3 plus 4, we have 2 times 3 plus 2 times 4. So as you can see, dinistribute lang natin si 2. So ibig sabihin, kapag sinimplify natin to, si right side and si left side, equal lang siya because distributive property, sabi dyan, the result will be the same. So let's check. So we have 2 times, unahin yung naka-parenthesis, 3 plus 4, we have 7, equals, what is 2 times 3? We have 6, plus, what is 2 times 4? We have 8. So 2 times 7, 40, equals 6 plus 8, 40. So as you can see, equal lang sila. Because according to distributive property, the result will be the same. So let's have another example. This time we have subtraction. So we have 2 times 3 minus 4 equals to 2 times 3 minus 2 times 4. So let's check kung same lang ba ang lalabas. So 2, what is 3 minus 4? We have negative 1. Equals 2 times 3, 6 minus 2 times 4, 8. What is 2 times negative 1? We have negative 2. That's correct. Equals, how about 6 minus 8? Still, we have negative 2. As you can see, the result is still the same. This is under of distributive property. So, tapos na tayo sa acid. So, may dalawa pa tayo. Let's have the next one. Next, we have I. So, I stands for inverse property. So, additive inverse states that the sum of any number and its additive inverse is 0. In multiplicative inverse, it states that the product of any number and its multiplicative inverse of reciprocal is 1. Okay? So, ang gagawin lang natin, kunin muna natin yung additive inverse or kabaliktaran kapag ang operation ay addition. Sa multiplication naman, kukunin natin yung reciprocal. So, when we say reciprocal, si numerator magiging denominator, si denominator magiging numerator. So, let's have example. So, we have 2 plus negative 2. As you can see, we have 2 here. The additive inverse or kumbaga, opposite ni 2 ay negative 2. So, if we're going to add this, the answer is always 0. So, if we're going to add, tapos yung number to its opposite, the sum is always 0. Next, when we say reciprocal, kasi si 2, parang 2 over 1. Ay, si 2, we can write this as 2 over 1. So, the reciprocal of 2 over 1 is 1 over 2. Why? The denominator of whole number is always 1. So, for example, we have 3 over 2. The reciprocal of 3 over 2 is 2 over 3. Babalik ta rin. So, we have 2 times 1 half equals 1. So, eto ang itsura ng inverse property. So, huwag kayong malilito sa inverse at saka sa identity. Sa identity, nasa loob si 0, pero sa inverse, nasa labas si 0, under of addition. Sa multiplication naman, nasa loob si 1, si inverse naman nasa labas. So now let's have the last one. We have acidic. We have C. C stands for commutative property. Changing the order of two numbers that are either being added or multiplied does not change the value. So, ibig sabihin, kahit baliktarin natin, hindi magbabago. According sa commutative property. So, let's have example. So we have 2 plus 3 equals 3 plus 2. So let's check. We have 5 equals 5. So same lang. Hindi nagbago yung value. So if we have 2 times 3, kung babalik rin natin, we have 3 times 2. Is still same lang yung answer. 6 equals 6. So this is under of commutative property. So now let's have recall. So we have acidic under of properties of operation on the set of integer. Again, A stands for correct, associative property. Next, let's have C. C stands for correct again, closure property. Let's have another one. I, identity property. This stands for distributive property. That's correct. I stands for inverse property, and last, commutative property. So these are the properties under of set of integers. Again, this is the format or ito yung itsura ng ating mga property. So before we end this video, let's try this. So identify the property using each of the statement below. So we have negative 7 plus 0 equals negative 7. So what do you think is the property in this given? If your answer is identity property, you're correct. No? Kasi as you can see, diba, we have negative 7 is still negative 7. And then our kasi baka malito kayo dun sa identity and inverse. Sa inverse, si 0 ang laging sagot, no? Let's have number 2. 6 times 3 minus 5 equals 6 times 3 minus 6 times 5. So what do you think is the property is used in number 2? If your answer is distributive property, you're correct. As you can see, dinistribute si 6. Next, let's have another example. Number 3, we have 11 plus negative 11 equals 0. If your answer is inverse property, you're correct. Let's have another example. Let's try this. Let's try to answer this. If we have 5 times 3 equals 3 times 5, what do you think is the answer? That's correct. It is under of commutative property. Next, we have 5 plus 2. As you can see inside, no? Ng parenthesis, we have 5 plus 2 sa right side. And then sa left side naman, napunta naman yung parenthesis kay 2 plus 3. This is under of what? If your answer it is under of associative property, you're correct. So, kapag nakuha niyo yung 5 question na tama kayo lahat, very good. Kapag nalilito, panoorin niyo na lang ulit ang video ito. So, before we end, yan. Let's try to complete this. So, we have, inside parentheses, we have 8 plus blank equals blank plus, inside parentheses is the sum of 5 and 1. So, what do you think is the missing number here? You can post your answer. You can post this video para isulat mo kung ano yung sa tingin mong sagot. Para ma-check mo kung nasagot mo ng tama itong tanong. So, here's now the answer. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So, here we have 5 and 1. And ano dito? 8. So, what property is used in this given? Very good. It is under of associative property. So before we end, always remember it does not matter how slowly you go so long as you do not stop. So that's the end of all. Salamat mga kabilang. Goodbye!